Hi everyone, welcome to the MrpTech podcast. This is episode 163. My name is Matt, and this is the weekly podcast discussing everyday tech for everyday people. Before I get into today's episode, I want to share something with all of you that I think might be great for around the holidays this year. This isn't a plug. I'm not getting a kickback for any of this, but this is a neat item that I just picked up recently, and I wanted to share with all of you. About a week ago or so, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point, I saw an ad on Facebook about this item. It's called MrpTech 3D. And if you go to their website, mrptechreviews.com, it's a really neat crystal photo. It's a 3D crystal photo. You can take any image that you want and you can put it into this crystal. There's a couple of different shapes and sizes that are available. And so a lot of people, what they'll do is they will take photos of their pets or take photos like wedding photos, family photos, that type of thing. And it's then basically transformed into this 3D crystal with an image, sort of a hologram type image that will sort of follow you around as you move around the room a little bit. So on one side of this crystal is a normal, sort of direct replica of the image that you chose, and then if you flip it around, it's like a 3D image, and it will actually follow you around. What a lot of people do is if they have pets they've lost or family members that they have lost, they will take this image and put it into one of these and sort of have it as a memory. And I seriously encourage anybody who has family photo albums or anything like that to take a look at one of these things. Now, when I first read it, it was like something that I wasn't going to believe was going to be all that much high quality. And but I started reading the reviews, and a lot of comments were saying, I just got mine. It's really great. And so I gave it a shot, and I got the smallest one that was available, and I got a picture of my dog. And what basically is, it's a really incredible, high quality image. And I encourage you all to check it out, mrptechreviews.com. So mrptechreviews.com. And just a little pro tip for you all. This would be great for holiday gifts this year. And I've already talked with a few people about it that would be sort of interested in this type of thing. There's several different shapes. There's 3D heart crystals. There's a necklace sort of in a rectangle shape. There's keychains. There's a 3D diamond crystal, keychain square, crystal iceberg, and there's wine stoppers and everything of the sort. So it's really neat and it's worth checking out. And I just wanted to share it with all of you today. Now, next up, I want to apologize for not having an episode out over the last few weeks. It has been very, very crazy and hectic, and it just hadn't stopped for a while. And there was a few times that I was about ready to start recording the show, and I just kept getting interrupted, and the show had to keep getting bumped time and time again for various things. So I apologize for that. I hope things have settled down a little bit now. I'm hoping to get back to the weekly recording whenever I can. But just know that the show's still around, and it's not going anywhere for a while. So going back now a couple weeks, I had an opportunity to host something in my area that was very special, very meaningful to me. And I wanted to share it with you because this is something that is traveling around the country currently. And basically what happened was about 6 months ago, I had saw a video on social media about something called the Instrument of Hope. Now, the Instrument of Hope is a trumpet that was made by the students at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, and after they put together a nonprofit organization called Shine MSD, it's a 501c3 charitable organization that was formed after the shooting on February 14th, 2018. Now, their goal is to with this nonprofit organization is to basically help survivors and family members and the community heal through the arts. So the instrument of hope is a symbol of their fight and a powerful way to keep the gun violence conversation on the main stage. That's their goal. Now, what they did is they found one of the world's most famous trumpet makers. His name was Josh Landris in New York City. And they made a trumpet out of bullet shell casings. Not the actual bullet shell casings from the actual event, but they brought an AR-15 to a gun range, and they fired about 100 rounds. They melted those shell casings down and formed a musical instrument. Now, this instrument has been on tour since last February, I believe, and it has been traveling sort of word of mouth and through a network of musicians, and there's no schedule currently for the trumpet. It is just it's played wherever, whenever. Their goal is to have this trumpet played in front of as many people as possible, for as many people as possible, and have as many people as possible play it. So I want to read you a couple of things about this instrument, just to kind of give you some perspective. The Instrument of Hope is a trumpet crafted of bullet casings by Shine MSD Incorporated. It is a nonprofit started by the survivors of the 2018 Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida. It is on a cross-country tour with famed musicians to revitalize the conversation around gun violence, and it is using the arts to promote hope and healing for the Parkland community. Now, that was their strongest message when I sort of requested to get this instrument in my area. I didn't hear anything back for a long time, and I made a connection through a network of friends, and going back to a person who actually schedules this instrument, and was able to bring it to my area. One of the first things that they said was that this is a non-political thing. They want to keep the message alive, but it's this is a very political topic, but their message is hope and healing through music. So the Instrument of Hope began its tour in Oakland, Florida on February 19th, 2019, when Panic at the Disco was the first band to promote its message of hope. The Instrument of Hope has since been played by many bands and trumpeters from California to Las Vegas to New York City and points in between. The Instrument of Hope performed the national anthem on April 3rd to open the Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics basketball game, and made its Broadway debut performance of Oklahoma on May 8th, 2019. This instrument has been played by many great trumpet players, including a couple of my sort of mentors, trumpet players that I had taken a couple lessons with that are really well-known trumpet players. Their names are Bobby Shue and Wayne Bergeron. If you are not in that world, you probably don't recognize those names, but I guarantee you, you know who Wayne Bergeron is, because he's played for over 300 movies at this point in time. He's a Los Angeles studio musician whose day job is to perform scores for musicians. So if you've seen like The Incredibles, lots of Disney movies, the list goes on. He's got his recording list is just crazy ridiculous. But anyway, the original idea for this instrument, it wasn't meant to be played. It was meant to be a showcase piece. And so a lot of musicians were actually struggling to get a good sound out of this instrument just because of the way it was made. Well, Bobby Shue was able to recommend a few things that they do to this horn, and made it actually much more playable for musicians, and now it's being highly sought after across the country. So like I said, there's no formal schedule for the tour, and the goal is that trumpet is passed on from artist to artist for the foreseeable future. When the tour does sunset, the Instrument of Hope will find a permanent home at the Shine MSD organization in Parkland, Florida. What they're hoping is that they can actually auction it to a business or organization that will continue the tour for them, and actually have somebody travel with the instrument across the country. And so I believe they're looking at that coming up in February. So we were very lucky to get the instrument. And if you want to see what it looks like, you can go to instrumentofhope.org. And there's a great video there as well. Shine MSD also has a Facebook page. You can check that out too. They post lots of different things on there about some other activities that they're doing as well. So we were only supposed to have it for about a day, and I was supposed to bring it to another location to have another trumpet player play it, and it didn't quite work out. So I ended up having it a little longer than I expected. Now, we had to get it here for a certain date, the first Wednesday in October, and it was really the only time that we had available to do this. So it was actually overnighted from Los Angeles to our location, and a network of music educators in my area who found out about this helped me with the overnight shipping costs to get it to our area. We had a concert on that first Wednesday of October, in which we invited anybody, any music educator, any student to come and perform on the trumpet for a break. So all the trumpet players in my band got to play it. Then during our break, anybody else who wanted to play it could play it. And the thing that struck me the most was that it was far more powerful than I expected. I knew this was a great cause, and it was an amazing task for these students to do this thing. But once I started seeing the interest in my local community, it really hit me how powerful this message was. For instance, at the restaurant that we were performing at, the manager there actually knew some of the Parkland students, and his niece was one that was on the news quite a bit talking about this incident. And this is like 1,500 miles away. And so the more and more I started talking with these people, the more and more we realized there's connections that go all the way back to Parkland, Florida. And so that whole night was a very special night. The next day, we had an assembly at the school that I teach at, and we had the school resource officer come in and bring the Instrument of Hope out onto the stage. We talked about it, and we had a performance with that with a couple of neighboring schools. We played America the Beautiful, and another really powerful moment. You could kind of hear a pin drop in the auditorium. The students got it. The students understood the message. And I was worried about that. I wasn't sure if it was going to be something that was going to be well received. Was it going to be thought of as a political statement? But we were honest right out front. We said this is a message of hope and healing. So the students really enjoyed it. If I can find it, I will try to put a link in the show notes to that assembly. From there, it went on to Plattsburgh State University, and we had one of the college bands perform with it on Thursday night. And then I thought I was supposed to bring it somewhere else. It didn't end up happening. So I sort of called an audible, and I tried to change and try to get as many other school districts to have this as possible. So I went to the next school district south of me, and it just happened to be their homecoming week, and so they had a homecoming football game where the Instrument of Hope was played. They played God Bless America that evening at halftime with the football game. They showed it at their school on Monday. We brought it to another school on Tuesday before shipping the horn out to Connecticut and New York City. Later on this month and next month, it's going to be played at Carnegie Hall. The list just goes on where this instrument is going. But I seriously encourage you all to take a look at the website, instrumentofhope.org. And there is a couple of GoFundMe pages if you're interested in it. I believe it is gofundme.com/instrumentofhope. And there's also a Shine MSD GoFundMe as well. So if you're interested in supporting that cause, feel free to do that. The reason I bring it up on this show is because a lot has gone into this, and it has been a real pleasure to bring this to my area, and having an an area where I can voice and get more people to become aware of this instrument of hope. I think it's very important and again, it's about spreading hope and healing for these students. So, and maybe there's somebody out there listening that knows somebody who's a musician, where you can go onto the website and you can request the instrument and bring it to your area and make some real change for this particular group. So you can request the instrument. It has a very busy schedule, and so it may not happen for a while. But if you have an available, if you're flexible with your schedule, it does seem like it's something that is possible even for somebody else. Now, I first thought that it was going to be just played by famous musicians. It's been played by The Who and other musicians as well. But if they want anyone and everyone to be able to play this. I've seen videos of mayors in a city who haven't played trumpet in 30 years got a chance to play it in front of a crowd. It's not about how good the sound is. It's not about, superior musicianship or anything like that. It's just about spreading that message, and what a cool message it is. So that's basically what I wanted to talk to you all about today, and I'm going to put some links in the show notes for you. I hope to be back on some tech topics next week, and I really thank you for all your patience. I have had a couple of people write into the show recently asking questions. I thank you for that. Life has been really crazy for the last couple of months. So hopefully now I will be back into a routine where I'm able to record every week. So thanks for your patience, guys. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.